In this video, we're going to mount these quartz countertops to the cabinets we've got here. A couple things we've got to do. We've got to cut the hole for the sink and then drill for the faucet there. Another thing, this exposed corner over here, or edge, let me lift it up and show you. We're going to have to cut the plywood top to allow for that edge to drop down to be flush. Over here, it's just a straight through. This side, because it's the fridge, the fabricator put that edge on. So I'm going to have to modify what I've got there for the plywood. Dropping this back down. It's going to look something like that when it's done. So first things first, I'm going to take off the plywood, slide the plywood this way the 2 inches, so then I can set it down, then I can mark and cut. It's not exactly 2 inches, so I'm just going to mark it, cut it that way, and then I'll have my template here. So when this is all flush, I could do it now easy enough, but I want to do it the other way. I'm going to mark the sink and mark the drill hole for the faucet. Then I'll show you how we cut those out. To get these done, it was about $1,500. Well, a bit less than that. I guess it was $1,200. That includes the stone, the cut, the polish, putting the ends on here. The stone just comes like that. They cut a little chunk off, they epoxy it on, and then you have that nice thick front edge. Otherwise it would just be that thin front edge. It would look weird. But the guy that I had do these did a really nice job with the seams. Looks really nice. So let's get to it. I'm gonna take this off, set it on the ground. It's super heavy. And we'll do some moving, marking, cutting, drilling, what else? And then mount them up. I moved that over, I pulled the ply, I cut that edge off, so now, I mean the fridge is in there crooked right now, but whatever, it'll move. So now I've got the countertop set where it's going to be sitting. Ever so simply, just take a pencil and mark it up. This right here will be visible, so you don't want to use like a Sharpie. A pencil you can wipe off when you're done. I mean rubbing here on the side of the white countertop. So now we've got that marked. I can pull the countertop off and drill the hole and cut this out. Okay, with the countertop moved over there, I've set my sink upside down. Here's our line for the quartz, the hole in the quartz for the sink. And you'll notice the way that is, it lines up with the edges of the sink. But we need the sink to drop down in, and I want to be able to move the sink around once I have it in place to get it all perfectly lined up. So what I'm going to do, I've got a 1 inch tab there, 1 inch here. So I'm going to go a 1/2 inch bigger all the way around so I can have that movement of the sink. So I've got my line, my scribed line. I'm just going to go a 1/2 inch bigger all the way around it. It's weird, I don't have my tools. I'm in Hawaii, so it's a little strange to me. This inside line is the cutout for the quartz. The outside line is my 1/2 inch leeway for the lip, right? Even without my tools, this is how you're gonna do this. So I've got the hole saw, and let's see, right about there. Drill it in. Uh-oh, I might have to swap out the battery. with the 4 corners. And that way I can just take the jigsaw, nice easy straight runs. If I had my tools, I'd be able to just run the skill saw real quick. Even though it's inside, it would be a bit messy, but this is the easiest way to do those corners without heating up the blade on a jigsaw. Okay, I've got my 4 holes drilled. Just pump these in. I'll be cleaning those, using a vacuum down here. There's a bunch of garbage in there. After I run this, I'll vacuum it all out, but this is the next step. Okay, so here's our hole. Let's take this sink, flip it over the way it's going to sit in there. Okay, so see how it's got that little bit of movement all the way around? That way I can line it up exactly perfectly with our the hole on the quartz. So that's exactly what I want. That's awesome. Very nice. I'll drill the hole back here for the faucet and move on. Okay, I've got my holes cut. I've test fit the sink. I know it fits a little loose, just how I want. I've got our side here that'll clear the edging. So now I'm gonna test fit. I'll set the sink in and I'll test fit the countertop to make sure everything is just how I want, and then we'll put it in for good. All right, countertop's in place. Now looking at the sink, you can see right here, this edge, a little too far over, and here it's sunken back, right? All I have to do is lift the countertop and adjust that sink. Can't really film it without a little tripod or something, but all I'm doing is moving that sink exactly where I want it in relation to the countertop. Get a nice uniform edge all the way around. And that's where I want the sink to sit. Okay, so now I'm gonna lift the countertop off, and we're gonna use some silicone to set it in place. That's up next. All right, with the countertop off, I'm just gonna lift the sink and I'm gonna put a little bit of this silicone all the way around this edge, okay? And then I'll set the sink back in, and then I'll do a few dabs of the silicone around the edges and a few spots, and then set the countertop on. That's all you do for this. Okay, that's all I've done. It's very simple, right? Here's the sink, set it in. And I'm not even gonna press it down. I'm gonna set the countertop back on place, get the sink exactly where I want again, and then I'll lift the front edge of the countertop and put my silicone around where I want it, and then set it down, put a little bit of extra weight on it, and that's it. Okay, the sink's where I want it, so I've lifted the countertop, holding it up one hand, put that silicone all over, it's in big globs. When I set this, when I bring the countertop back down, the weight of it will press everything into place. I'll do a final check on my sink, and then let it sit. Okay, so right now it's just floating on that silicone, right? So I have plenty of time to do final adjustments with the sink reveal. Now, if I'd done that, cut that sink hole exactly to fit, I wouldn't have been able to adjust that, and that would suck. So, see how I just adjusted it and then I had to press that corner back in? Got to go through and make sure this is exactly where I want again. After this is set and cured, I can take some silicone and seal this up. around here. Another way I've seen guys do it is they put a big bead of silicone here along this edge, and then they set the countertop down and it kind of squirts out. Then there's a lot of cleanup. This is the only sink I have right now, so I'm not equipped for that kind of cleanup. So that's how I'm gonna do it. There's setting the countertop, cutting a sink in, setting the sink, and using silicone to mount that quartz countertop. You just want to make sure that there's evenly distributed weight on the thing. This quartz is pretty heavy, but I'm gonna go through and just press down on it. Maybe throw some weight on it somehow. The other thing I've got is setting this one. Super simple. I'm just gonna lift it and squirt the silicone and let it sit. There you have it. Make sure and put some weight on it while it cures. Then you'll be all set with your new countertops.